Hi, everybody. Welcome to The New Normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. And today is Friday the 13th, December 13th. It is Freya Friday. Don't let the church fool you. So it is Freya Friday, the goddess of love and fertility Friday. So everybody grab something red because we love everyone, remembering everyone deployed RED Fridays. And we love Westwood. So we'll be right back with Clint Westwood right after this. Happy Freya Friday the 13th, Westwood.
Freya Friday. Shout out to Jason Voorhees.
The goddess of love and fertility.
Oh, yeah. Red stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, red stuff. So I read that actually the church didn't want people associating. Friday the 13th was always associated with Freya, the goddess of love and fertility. And the church didn't like that. And so my husband's being inappropriate. And so they started associating it with the devil and scary stuff.
Evil!
Yes, to scare you and control you.
Oh, yes. Live in fear. Constant fear. Get that adrenochrome flowing. Yeah, we love it.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't it also supposedly the date that they killed the Knights Templar?
Is it?
I think it is. I think Friday the 13th. That's what. Now
Friday
see.
the 13th is
Dog.
Interesting. So I have not talked to you in the whole week other than last night on Spaces and when we text. But officially.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Did you see when Trump was in Notre Dame?
Okay.
So I picked up this plate at an estate sale or at a warehouse sale somewhere. Anyway, and it said OES, Order of the Eastern Star.
Oh.
And it's the same colors that were on the priest's robes, and it has all the little stars like at Notre Dame, their symbol and all that.
Okay.
And so, and then when the priests all came in, the red bishop, cardinal, I don't know what he is.
Cardinals, yeah. Because think red birds, cardinal.
Okay, so he was the only red one. He saluted Trump.
Like military or like Heil?
No, like this, like military.
Salute. Oh, interesting.
And then, but all the other priests that were in white had the Order of the Eastern Star colors on their robes. Well, the Order of the Eastern Star is the women's auxiliary for the Masons. Like, don't you think that's strange?
It's odd. That's like some little bit of twisted stuff going on there, maybe. I don't know. That is weird.
It made me wonder, how all the rumors about Macron's wife and all that.
Right. Makes you wonder if you got a lot of that going on that you don't know about, switched at birth kind of thing, or switched at a young age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing, though. That's what it's all about. It's that whole inversion thing. So, I mean, supposedly to be in the club, you got to sacrifice, usually the firstborn, or you trans them.
Which so many of the Hollywood elites did that with.
Which a lot of them do that, and it makes you think, what are you doing? What is going on at such a young age?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a belief system out there that's occurring right in front of you. In my mind, I see it, but do I understand why they're doing it, how they're doing it, what it's all about? No, but there is something going on. They do have some belief system and that they're carrying out. Yeah, there's something there, no doubt. I just don't know 100% what it is. I didn't know
if you had more information or could help me unpack any of that, but I was like putting some of those things together, and I was like, wait a minute.
Right. I know the whole Eastern Star thing seems kind of I hate to use the overused word of occultic or maybe Kabbalistic in some way. And I don't know, that's another rabbit hole to go down, the whole black cube and the Kabbalah. And, you start seeing some of that symbolism. And once you see it, you're like, it's like BlackRock, the company. You're like, oh, I never thought about that. Huh, black cube, and then some people say, the cross, as you see it, it's like an unfolded cube. If you like fold it back together and it forms a cube.
Yeah.
So makes you think. And then, why do Catholics do like the inverted cross? You know what I mean? They're doing a cross, but it's like upside down cross.
Oh.
Think about it. I mean, you're like, huh, they've been doing it in front of you the whole time, but not that all Catholics are, I'm just saying, but the symbolism, when you really look at it,
realize what they're doing. They're just being trained to do that.
Right. And the fact is they get you to participate in these rituals and you're giving it energy and like fueling their mindset when you don't even know what you're doing. But, by doing that, it's just like, you get baptized and it's an outward symbol of something. Well, if you're doing this, making the sign of the cross and you're doing it inverted, maybe that gives power to the other way. And that's what they want to do is like invert it and make you comply and complicit in it, not know it. And it's their deviant little minds.
Well, and all the
like signing contracts,
signing contracts.
I'm a U.S. citizen.
Yeah,
okay.
All
F
that.
you. Yeah.
All the things that, we've complied into that.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't get to say, what do they say, that ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law or something like that?
Yeah, they'll say ignorance of the law is no excuse. And it's like, okay, you can say that, but ignorance of law might not be an excuse. And I mean constitutional law, natural law, but all these statutes that you make, don't put that on me. Ignorance of all that garbage that you create. Nobody could ever know all that. So of course they can get you once you're in their system and you're following corporate structure and UCC laws and all this commerce crap. They're going to find something to get you on. But I mean, ignorance of the law being constitutional law, Bill of Rights type stuff, Okay, yeah, I get it because that's law. Other stuff isn't law. It's statute.
Yeah. Speaking of ridiculous statutes and whatever, I saw,
edicts,
regulation. Elon tweeted out that the IRS was given $46 billion of like help or stimulus, and it allowed them to collect $4.6 billion.
Well, that's a good trade-off.
That doesn't seem very efficient.
Yeah, it's like loaning a family member, $100 and they give you $10 back in payment.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Or anybody for that matter, not just a family member, but it's usually you loan money to, Here, take it, gift.
Yeah, it's not a good idea. I don't recommend that. I do not recommend that at all. I see how Fancy Nancy slipped and fell, broke her hip.
Did she?
Yeah.
I did. I totally missed it. I saw Cliff tweet about a broken hip, like you break your hip, you got like a year, that kind of thing. Yeah, I didn't know she'd fallen. Okay.
She's in Germany or somewhere. She fell on some marble steps. What's interesting is that one of Donald Trump's, I think his news channel or something, it's not an official Twitter channel, but one of his unofficial channels said it's time for them her and Mitch McConnell to hang it up right before it happened. And I was like, well, they could
get hanged. Trial.
Yeah. And then like right after that,
they both fall down. Well, Mitchie fell down on his face again. I mean, what a mess he is.
His face.
I mean, it's just a humiliation ritual almost. I mean, at this point, it's like these people they can't even. He's incompetent physically. I mean, mentally too.
More humiliating for us or them because we are sitting there going, we know
they're still in power, right? It's like
they're in power, and that whether we voted for them or not, or it was stolen or whatever, we submit and allow it to continue. That's like who's the dumber dog of the two? I don't know. Speaking of dogs and dogs barking, he's going to go take care of his dogs because mine were barking earlier. Now his are barking. But thanks for joining us in the chat, you guys. Looks like the whole fam was here. If you guys didn't catch the why, you're okay. If you guys didn't, that's okay. A bunch of us were in the Why Litecoin interview with Charlie Lee just a little bit ago. He had that on. So I
think he calls his YouTube channel the Litecoin Forecast. So if you're looking for it, I do have a link on my website. I put it out there, so you can go to community resources and go right to his YouTube channel.
Perfect. Yeah. And he usually does like streams that are, several hours long, so you'll have to kind of find it. I don't know if it was at the beginning, but it's about an hour long interview. So
yeah, Charlie came in at about 20, 25 minutes into the video. So if you find his latest video out there on the Litecoin forecast, just go like 20 minutes in, and Charlie Lee was on for a little over an hour, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was an hour and 13 minutes, actually. He was talking about it. 113.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Litecoin was, there's a whole thing with 13 and Litecoin. Litecoin was founded on October 13th, and I think Charlie's birthday is on the 13th of some month. And what was it? Bitcoin is the reverse of that. It was October 31st in the white paper. And so there's a whole bunch of, that's why people are like, I think Satoshi is actually Charlie Lee.
Number magic.
Yeah, right. That's kind of funny.
That's funny. They were also saying that Litecoin was pumping during the interview. I don't know if that's true.
It did move up a little bit just on the daily candle. I saw it was like $3. Went in like 122 to 125, but all the other altcoins really weren't moving. Litecoin was kind of sticking its head up above the water. I think it's getting ready again to make a decent move this weekend and throughout till the end of the year, because we had this little washout, in crypto this last week, and I think it purged a lot of the stuff that shouldn't have been in there. Maybe wrecked some longs and shorts and all that stuff, and weak hands dropped, and I think it's ready to go. It's ready to pump.
It'll be interesting to watch what happens, how the year closes out.
Mm-hmm.
I know our government is looking at another shutdown. Oh no. Every year.
That's why we have all those drones out there, right? Getting ready for the darkness. They're going to shut things down. They got the drones above us watching. I don't know. Who knows?
I have a positive spin on the drones, though.
Yeah.
After going down the Dr. Stephen Greer rabbit hole, I have several videos on the Telegram group that people can watch. But I would encourage you to, do your own research, whatever, look into it, because there's a possibility he could also be, deep state narrative. Who knows? My gut says no, that he's legit. Especially because he did a series of interviews called Disclosure on Gaia with Jay Widener.
Yeah.
And he seems like a really solid guy too. So, and I just don't see the narrative or would be the, motivation for him doing this in a bad way or anything. But basically there was a clock that was started around June, and they were given these whistleblowers that are like not just black budget, but like black budget.
Way dark budget to where that money, where did it go? Did it exist?
They were given like a timeline or a clock of 6 months to come forward. And so they are apparently doing that, and they're going to name themselves even.
Oh.
They're going to disclose their names, like all of it. So it's very legit. That's another reason that I don't think it's like a bad guy thing, because it's not like an unnamed whistleblower,
Right.
It's going to be like General so-and-so, I don't know.
Let's hope so. Let's hope
so. Yeah. And so we're supposed to know towards the end of this month to by the beginning of January. And
wow, that's
all that.
We'll find out. We don't have long to wait.
Yeah. It's interesting. But he was also saying that, he's been reporting about that we've had all of this stuff because we had a couple of UFOs that, yes, the military crashed or took down, and then they've been like deconstructing them, and we've had that technology, and they've been reconstructing their own. And so most likely, and there's been a plan, Werner von Braun's wife or assistant, I can't remember, told him like since back, and she's now like in her 80s or 90s or something, but since back in the 50s when they started that Patent Secrecy Act and all this stuff, that they had Project Bluebeam in place to perpetuate wars and keep people in fear and have like the whole idea of like, oh, the world against, whatever, in the alien invasion. And so like we are here now. And
Yeah.
all that.
They probably seeded it a long time ago, because you think A War of the Worlds with Orson Welles, the radio broadcast, that was like back in the 30s. I think. And I mean, that got people believed it. They thought it was a legit radio, because, they didn't have TV or video or anything. They heard it on the radio, and it was actually just a play. And they announced it beforehand. Hey, this is just dramatic. But people that tuned in, they're like, holy crap, there's aliens coming down, and, Farmer Joe is shooting those shotguns, and, and then we're just now getting a breaking report, and then somebody would come in. And so everybody's like, and it scared the populace, of the United States. And so you think, okay, there was a successful test run of stuff, to see how people react. And so whether or not it was planned, I'm sure they amalgamated that into the plan and thought, okay, this is what's going to happen if we do this. So yeah, I think it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I could see a really positive thing coming out of it, in that, and listening to or unpacking what I think Uncle Cliff's saying when he talks, that like that this event moves us into the 0 point technologies and the future, the like flying, because we're going right into soaring 20s and all that in his old data sets and all that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me, because when I was watching one of the Stephen Greer interviews, actually several of them, now I think about it, almost every one he mentioned this, that when he talks to people about the I still call them UFOs because I'm old and that's
UAP. It's hard to get my head around. I'm like, what is it? Unidentified aerial phenomenon, or phenomena if it's plural.
Used to be called a UFO.
UFO just rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah, but when he's talking to them, he said, it's so easy. I can speak to these.
Can you hear her barking?
Yeah, but it's okay.
I'll put her back out.
It's okay. But I can show people, look, there is no heat signature to this. How it has no engine. It's not nuclear.
Right. Combustible or, putting out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so where is the engine? How is it being propelled? Where does the energy come from? And so it's a way for us to be, it's disclosure or showing us about 0 point technology or 0 point energy.
No, I tend to agree with you on that. I watched you and Johnny. I rewatched that from last night when you were bringing that up, and I mean, how else are you going to? People are going to be like, well, because again, what was it? I mean, the guy that was panicking, the congressman's like, shoot him down, Iranian mothership, just going crazy. I mean, it's absolutely going nuts. But
they're most likely our own military.
Well, exactly. Did you really think the military is going to be sitting back doing nothing in this instance? And it's no big deal. They know what it is. That's why they're not making a big deal of it. I mean, so it's you're right. It's part of some kind of rollout plan. There's a reason for it, and it gets people thinking. I don't know, somebody brought it up. I think he brought it up, but it's been brought up by somebody. It's like, well, how do they refuel? How they get, how long can they stay up? That kind of thing. And if people start asking those questions, and they're like, they get up and they sit up all night in their lawn chair watching it, and it just hovers and sits there, and it doesn't go anywhere. You start thinking, this thing gonna run out of gas? I mean, what's going to happen here? And then you start thinking, it's like, well, maybe they're using some kind of other technology, because a battery can't last that long, right? With that kind of weight in the air and hover. And so you're right, getting people clicking, and they're thinking, I think they left something out, in the schools here. We're missing something.
Yeah. So Dr. Greer you guys can go to his website, and that will point you to his, let's see if I can find it.
Like Daddy O says, folks are popping shots off at him. See, I talked about it last night a little bit in Spaces, or this morning, to where, I mean, I don't think, if it happened here, I'm not going to be shooting it, because if they just showed up and they're just doing their thing, I mean, I don't know that it's a good thing to start shooting at it, because obviously the technology that is, I got to assume the technology, I might get laser beamed or, melted or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like approaching a Sasquatch, like I said last night, with a 22. Just because you got a weapon, and you're not going to defend yourself. It's going to do what it's going to do to you. And, it may leave you alone, or it may attack you. there's nothing a gun's going to do to save you at that point, so you gotta respect it and just try and get your head around it. Don't freak out in fear like a lot of people do, and just immediately react because it's outside of my normalcy bias, so kill it. And it's like, no.
Yeah,
Let's maybe learn from it.
I cannot believe that. I think he was a representative, House representative or something, and he was telling people to shoot at it, and I was like,
totally whipping people up into a fierce mindset.
Yeah.
And then you saw the lady; she's kind of like, I mean, if it's an Iranian mothership, and she's getting all worked up, and it's all part of the show probably, but it's like that gets people, like, what the frick? But I'm like, take it with, for what it is. And I mean, you go up and you look at things in the sky you can't explain. I've seen things that I'm like, why did it turn that way and make a loop, at night? And you think, there ain't nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? If it wants to come do something to me, obviously I'm ill-equipped, to handle it. So.
No, it's crazy to me.
Sir, say your prayers, ice hole, of a movie. No, get yourself right and calm, and stay connected to the source and try to, just let it flow and see what you can learn from it, hopefully.
That is for sure. There were several things on those interviews that I really liked, not just the 0 point energy, but it helped me think differently about climate change, because it was always such a right-left, red-blue issue. And I was like, yeah, drill, baby, drill. And, we live in Oklahoma and I love a big, loud truck and a fast car and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that big diesel.
Yeah. But then when you start talking about, when he's showing how like people in the desert in Africa and stuff are destroying their own habitat, like the trees and stuff. And they show like pictures from satellite pictures and stuff. And it's not because, they're doing it because they need fuel to cook their food. Well, if you had perpetual energy, all of a sudden you don't have to tear down the trees and you don't have to do all these things. And so it's like, there is some of that, and, I don't know how much of it is that we're moving into the ice age, like Uncle Cliff was talking about and all that, but to know that it could help with, people starving, and remove some of this. It's one piece of freeing humanity from this slavery system that is, of course, manipulated by and capped off by the US dollar. And that's where, like, when you see pyramid, little eye on it, that's all they needed. They have it's its own ecosystem of the oil and gas companies and the Vanguard, BlackRock, whatever, all of this stuff. But they still need that one little piece. And that one little piece is how they get our energy into their system. And that's the US dollar.
Yeah. And that's 100% it. We've tied ourselves to a piece of crap form of energy that is completely manipulated. And you're right. That's getting us to participate in this whole thing. And that's always been the thing. That's why I call it a vampire casino. They want you playing at the table. They want to keep, getting you in the system and giving your energy to it. And just imagine if you had free energy, 0 point stuff. Solve a lot of problems in the world, but it cut out a lot of centralized profits too. Top of the pyramid type stuff. Now it's at the base. We all have power, and it's like a spread out big foundation rather than, it's all this way and we're holding it up. It's like, no, we're all winning now. We're all the foundation.
Yeah.
And our own foundation.
Well, and another thing he said, he would meet these guys, these scientists or whatever, who had created a form of 0 point technology, and he was trying to help them. And he's like, look, you need to release this open source as quickly as possible. Just give it away. And they were like, no, it's my precious thing,
Yeah, right.
And they wanted to get capital venture, and they wanted to, they wanted to get rich off of it. And it's like,
yeah, they want to be the casino card dealers and, run the thing and be able to collect the profits and, run the game.
Yeah. But if they would just if they would step one step further, like if they would understand what they created and take one step further to understand, no, this could free all of humanity, that no one needs money. that it doesn't benefit you to have money.
No, not if you have free energy. And that's the thing. You don't need it at that point because you can create all the things that you work for with that energy. I mean, ultimately, if you got your own little power source.
Yeah. So that's where it was just to see humanity get held back by greed and ego. I don't know. It was really like, it's like, oh my gosh, we were right there. We were right there. The hydrogen engine, they came and, well, they most likely killed him. There was another speech he gave somewhere, and he went through this like litany of people that have been knocked off. And then after they stopped knocking people off, then they came in with that Patent Secrecy Act. And so they can, if you have, I can't remember what the wording is, it says something like, if you
disruptive to the economy or the economic system, their system.
Yep. Then the government, the Invention Secrecy Act of 1952, the government patent use law is a statute codified, blah, blah, blah. It's a form of government immunity from patent claims. It gives the federal government of the United States right to use patented inventions without permission while paying the patent holder a reasonable compensation. So it withholds patents that could be harmful to national security or economic stability.
Basically, if you upset our apple cart, then we're going to use eminent domain of the mind and come steal your ideas, and we'll pay you a little bit for it, but not what it's really worth.
Well, and it makes me wonder, so Marsha Blackburn is fighting for like IP, to protect IP and NIL, all this. She also she had written and it got written into and stuck in the COVID thing. So there's a small version. It only goes up to $30,000, but it's called the Copyright Alternative Small Claims Enforcement Act. And so up to violations of $30,000 of somebody violating your copyright, which I know is different than a patent a little bit, but it's still like an idea.
Yeah, it is. It's your your name, image, likeness kind of thing.
So she got at least up to $30,000 passed through that it establishes a whole different
small claims court type thing.
And it was put through. Okay. And I don't know that a lot of people know that.
Can you pay me in Litecoin? Because I don't want the U.S. Fed note.
Well, I'm just seeing it more as like not about being paid, but
I know
a way to protect. Then people can come forward with the 0 point and it not be taken, because some of these guys that had 0 point, they were taken into court and the patent people made them sign one of those secrecy acts, and they told them, like, allegedly, like, you don't speak about this, here's you're getting paid for it, or worse, whatever, and all that.
Or else. Else what? Else everything you can imagine.
And typically involves their family members and stuff.
Right. So. And most people are going to be like, F it, I can't fight the system, and they're just, okay, sign it, and they walk away, and they're neutered the rest of their lives, and because those people are like, I don't want them to hurt my family, and that's what they do. They threaten you with this stuff, and so it's very easy to bury this stuff. Then you've got all the tools to do it, so that's what they do, and you wonder why it's been pull it out of the ground for the last 150 years, and that's your energy source. I mean, does that seem that efficient? I mean, I think CNBC did a piece of on uranium mining in somewhere Saskatchewan or something in Canada, and this gal goes down. It was like 40, man, it's like as tall as the Empire State Building. I don't know how many meters, 130 meters underground. I don't know what it was, but as tall as that didn't sound right, but it's tall at 430 maybe. It's taller than the Empire State Building. Okay. Down into the ground, and then they've got all this infrastructure, these cooling pools, and then they drill up into the uranium, and then they slurry it, and they do all this stuff underground. They had to haul that all down the elevator and put all this together down there. And I'm thinking, the monumental effort that they're using to get this stuff out of the ground, and you think it's just unreal. It just doesn't make sense. And then you think of Oklahoma. How many earthquakes have you had in Oklahoma before fracking? And I get the technology of fracking and blowing stuff up under, and releasing the natural gas and that kind of thing. But what's that doing? I mean, what are the ramifications of that? Well, you might have an earthquake now and then. It's only a 3.0, no big deal. But still, I mean, it seems so inefficient the way we're getting energy when in the summertime, when I see lightning striking everywhere, I'm like, that's a lot of energy. It's coming from somewhere. It's in the atmosphere. Okay, why are we not harnessing that somehow? Or can't we? And it's just not being allowed.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's really crazy. But hearing about this kind of stuff and then hearing that this disclosure could come forward.
Yes, I think they're positive signs, with the drones and everything, that people are starting to think about this again or starting for the first time. And that's good.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. And then hearing about it's the things that aren't being talked about, that I get excited about. Okay, because I think the pieces are being laid in the background. Even Roger Ver did his interview on Tucker. And he's talking about how it's important. He's talking about the use cases or the core values that are important. He's talking about why privacy is important, talking about why on-ramps and off-ramps are important. But then he's talking about Zano and whatever.
Yeah.
And not
Zano.
Those, I think people should have freedom to choose whatever coins they want. But I don't know that that's really easy to get off and on ramps of and all that. And I think about, and he doesn't mention Litecoin at all.
I know.
I think the way you're living right now on Mayorkas or whatever island, Litecoin.
Mayorkas. Isn't that the Homeland Security guy?
Oh, it's something like that.
New name?
I'm saying it totally wrong.
I know. No, I hear you. I know. I think you're right, though. I think it's the same name.
Oh, is it really?
I think it might be.
I think it's very similar. I may be saying it wrong. Sorry. Yeah. But I think what if he really is using Litecoin, but he's not saying it because they need the price to be down for when we, the people, need somewhere to run.
Distribution, so that people here I am preaching for years upon years. It's hey, you might want to look into Litecoin. I mean, it actually works, and you can still get it for under $100 a coin. Oh wait, no, you can't anymore. Now it's 125, and so now it takes you more Fed note energy to get it, and at some point it's going to take you more Fed note energy to get it because the use case. I mean, just had that interview with Charlie Lee and why Litecoin brought up all the statistics. It's just off the charts. The use and the value of the Litecoin network, and people are using it. And even Charlie said that, hey, most people don't use Bitcoin. They just sit on it. They don't even use it. I mean, that's the whole reason. Hey, F you. I had my short the banks hat on today. And, and when I was in the car, and I'm like, that's the whole reason it had to be for Bitcoin. And it's this is what it was for. And now Bitcoin's let's feel like Max Kaiser. And now we're asking for permission from the slave owners.
Yeah. But you have to admit, Charlie Lee's reason was the best one. Litecoin's boring. It just works.
Right. I know. I saw you're going to make a t-shirt.
I think that's the best.
It is, though. I mean, it should be boring. It's just, it should be boring at $1,000, though, because, that's what, let's get to the real value of it. I mean, and then people wouldn't have a problem. It's like silver. It's silver's a pain. It's too heavy to move. It's well, if it were $300 an ounce, would it be a problem?
Right. Probably.
Or 3,000 an ounce. Is it a problem then? Nah, probably not.
Right.
But that's the real value of it and what it should be. But, you got suppressed markets and you got information. You got people that don't talk about it when they should be talking about it. And it's just, I don't know what the reason is. I kind of got my own suspicions, but I think you alluded to it.
Things that aren't being talked about to me.
Yes.
But they are talking about those use cases. But they're not saying.
We're not saying the one thing that accomplishes it all. You can choose privacy if you want to, or you can choose transparency. And it's anyway.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool if there was a coin that did both? Oh wait,
that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be awesome if there were a coin that you could have total move it on the blockchain like Bitcoin and cheaper, and you could also choose privacy where no one could know that you sent it? Wouldn't that be awesome? Oh wait, there's Litecoin. Sound money for the digital age.
There you go. I just thought it was funny. I was getting a kick out of it. Oh,
anyway.
Crazy, crazy week. It has been a crazy week. What else? Oh, I did want to give everybody, there was a warning about Microsoft sent out a warning to not update your PC.
Oh, great.
So everybody be careful right now. Do not update your PC or do so at your own risk, but be careful. This talks about, let's see. Microsoft's AI is caught capturing sensitive information that it shouldn't.
No.
Yeah. I'm sure they would
kidding
never
me?
do that. Yeah.
Can't imagine.
So beware, beware, beware.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways to get around that. I mean, using Cryptoshi, not a FOMO, very smart, knows how to do that stuff. It's like, use Linux, use Ubuntu, the version. I mean, you can do things if you really research it to where you can like have your own operating system on there as opposed to Windows or Apple stuff. And I mean, I think more of us need to kind of figure that out because I don't know. It's just Big Brother watching you everywhere you go.
Speaking of watches,
Litecoin Watch.
Litecoin Watch is great. Go to
CoinVigilante.com
and get your Litecoin Watch today. Great Christmas gift ideas for people. You can get pretty much any coin you want. I don't know. I just know they have Bitcoin and Litecoin watches.
He's got $100,000 Bitcoin watches. It doesn't cost that. It's just like a commemorative watch, a limited run of 100K Bitcoin because it did 100,000.
Cool.
Yeah, this is my $100 Litecoin watch.
You go. I like it. I like it a lot.
I love it. Want some more of it.
So speaking of time, Trump vows to end very costly daylight savings time. I was excited to hear about this.
That's the dumbest thing. I mean, to have that in place, it needs to go away. Everybody needs to be on the same time. This is thinking you're going to legislate time. Give me a break.
Well, and they say like maybe it was a Forbes article I pulled up before, but like there's 20% more car wrecks after the time change in the spring because people are stressed and
right. It's very disruptive to the circadian rhythm.
That's it. They talked about your circadian rhythm being all messed up, and originally it was supposedly passed by Benjamin Franklin or proposed by him. But it was like supposed to help with farmers and farming day. Okay, I call BS on that.
I know. I've always heard that, and I'm like, what?
The farmer doesn't care what.
Who cares what the clock is? He uses the sun, and I mean, you get up at sun up when the rooster crows. The rooster doesn't know anything about daylight savings time. It's going to crow when the sun comes up, and that's when you get up. Oh, you couldn't farm until we instituted this, right? Oh, so for thousands of years we couldn't eat, couldn't farm. No. Manna from heaven fell, and we all just ate it. I can't break.
It's insane how stupid
it is. It's like, do we believe this? Do you really believe this?
No, we do not believe this. We are not all this stupid.
Man.
So.
Yeah, unwind all that nonsense. So that's a good idea. It's like we should all be same time. Just F it. Done. None of this daylight savings time. It's ignorant. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. P. Diddy's got more rape charges now from 3 men that he drugged.
See, this is the thing. Yeah, I shouldn't even go into it. Look, you go search up, grok it up. Now go search up Tupac. Remember his little interview when he was first getting into business and when he's a little ballerina?
Yeah.
I mean, and then he became a thug because the industry made him look like a thug. Well, guess what? They're all little ballerinas, all these little rap guys. And so that tells you kind of where they're at. So this makes total sense to me.
And remember LeBron James when they made him wear the pink
yes. And guess what? LeBron James disappeared. He stepped away from the Lakers this week and said, no explanation.
Well, here might be an explanation. Apparently he likes to clean house. I didn't know. Very weird.
What do you mean, LeBron? Well, there ain't no party like a Diddy party. What do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean? And he got called out. He was at some football game or something, and the people turned around to the skybox he was in and started heckling him and yelling at him. And
I
can't walk down the street. How you like it now?
There was a thing about him saying that the reason they called them white parties is because they would get like white men drunk or high. And I don't know, this is a rumor. And there was a video of like P. Diddy going, "This is why, see what happens to white men when they come to, or white guys or white
Yeah.
something, when they
Mhm.
come to a Diddy party." And this guy is completely passed out, drugged, and he's bent over on a couch.
Right. Wake up and you're like, what the? Yeah.
I thought there was a video of that Tupac interview in this.
And see, that's the thing. It's just like Hunter's laptop. All these videos exist, just like Epstein Island. All these videos exist. Who has them? Where are they at? When are they going to get released? At what time? At the appropriate time, maybe. Or maybe they don't because it's so horrific. But yeah, they're Playboy Mansion, same thing. Another psyop, honeypot deal. I mean, they got these things all over the place. And, compromise people's thing, use it against them. And it's like, oh, just play by the rules or else we're going to expose you for this. And it's all just one big hijacked, rigged vampire game where they steal your energy and they compromise you and make you live in fear. And then that's, you do our bidding. Sick of it, man.
Yeah,
Tired of it.
really
Let's get it all out there.
It is sick. And it's all about like who could be bought and all this.
Right. All control, fear, all that crap.
What do you think of Biden pardoning all these people that it's like
not nice people either?
No, this one guy was a judge who was sentenced for 17 and a half years,
right,
being paid $2.1 million in bribes for giving juveniles disproportionately long sentences to send them to private for-profit detention centers. So it's like it was called Cash for Kids.
Yeah, I mean, think about this.
And these judges were all crooked, and they were sending people's sending away people's children for disproportionately long sentences because it was labor. It was slave labor camps.
Exactly. You put them in a position where they can be manipulated and controlled and do whatever they want to them. It's like a horrific Diddy party, I mean, that's what they do. We're just nothing but a food source to them, an energy source, however they get their energy from us, whatever gratification they get. But that's it. They're vampires. They really are. They're just evil vampires. They're soulless creatures. They're terrible. And then you pardon them. Does that make any sense other than the fact that it calls attention to the whole situation? And maybe that's the goal here. But ultimately, I mean, he shouldn't be able to walk down the street and be comfortable. He shouldn't be able to walk into a steak dinner and get a steak dinner. I mean, he should not be able to, why would I serve him if it's my restaurant? I wouldn't. Say, no, I refuse to serve you. No. I give me a break. 1,500 people just blanketly, yeah, you're all a bunch of corrupt people. Pardon them. Wow.
It is insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
And here's more of the I don't know. I don't even need to.
Yeah, there was another one. I don't know what it was. And the family was just like unbelievable. They were suing the guy for, and I don't think it was this case. It was something else. It wasn't that action. But this had a pharmaceutical type situation, I think. Damages, doctor or something. And, well, he's off the hook now.
Wow. That is.
Yeah, my kid's damaged and, mentally retarded the rest of his life thanks to, what you did to him. And now we don't even have any, recourse because you got pardoned. Yeah.
It's so wrong.
Yeah.
That's where
that's some
somebody's
karma.
Gonna
some hard karma coming.
Happen.
Mm-hmm.
I did see some good news. Another state is turning to gold and silver. So Florida is conducting a study to explore using gold and silver as currency, potentially bypassing the Federal Reserve System.
That's what needs to happen.
That other part out loud.
That's what needs to happen. We need money. We need sound money outside their system. Don't use their poker chips. Let's use money and do it peer to peer. And if you got a business, accept gold and silver, accept cryptocurrency, that kind of thing.
Well, I think that's what we were kind of talking about last night. People were getting a little frustrated and, no, I don't like the government part, but I love my country.
Mm-hmm.
And, I am talking about his beliefs in agorism, and that's how you do it is you opt out. And
Yeah.
you always talk about having real hard assets, and
Yep.
dogs and cigars and whiskey and
Right.
land and
Right.
all of that. And I believe that that's what a lot of our community is about, teaching people like, and you and I have even talked about we've known each other a few years now,
Mhm.
and you're like, I've even seen you change
A
and
few
my
lifetimes.
yeah, and a few lifetimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
other than that, this lifetime we've known each other a few years.
Right.
But and my husband and I, our values have changed about
Yep.
like where we spend our time and our
Right.
energy and our money or whatever,
Yeah.
because we value things just differently now. And it's like, well, what can be taken from me, taxed from me? What requires me to opt into their system? Where
Right.
can I live in freedom?
Right.
All those
Wh-
kind of things.
Well, how am I engaging in the casino right now? How do I have a foot or a hook in the casino right now? And I need to figure out where that is, and I need to eliminate that as much as possible. You probably got 100 hooks in the casino, and it's like, okay, take this one out, this one out, this one out. Put yourself in a position to where you're not, you're not in that. I mean, they don't have jurisdiction. Okay, so you got a house. Why you got it in your name? Maybe you should put it in the name of a trust or something, which is, that's what all the rich guys do. Buffett, he doesn't own anything, but he controls everything because he controls it through trusts and businesses and all that stuff. And so, you're not engaging personally in their system, and if they come after you personally, it's like, I don't own anything. And it's like, I got nothing. I got nothing to my name. And that's a good thing. That's a good place to be. You don't want to have anything in your name. However, doesn't mean you can't, control things and trusts and different things, and that's you kind of got to operate that way because you're dealing with vampires, and they're like, oh yeah, put your name on everything, own it, have all the toys, and then so we can come take them. So there's little things you can do.
I have another. Ooh, I have a new book I want to share with. Well, I'll bring it to the meetup. I found a book at an estate sale, and it's like old currency book, and it talks about like,
Nice.
I guess it was talking about whether the $2 bill is like good luck or bad luck or something, and it had some other stuff in it. I don't know. It was interesting, but I hadn't seen it. Yes, warrior. Hugs are the best currency. I agree.
Absolutely.
That's sweet.
Best. I mean, if you can get a hug and it makes you cry, it's like, holy cow, you've tapped into something deep. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like you've elicited and activated something deep within your soul. It's like you primordial spirit, Anyway.
Oh, I know what else I wanted to tell you guys. The ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland were sold for, guess how much?
It was like 40 something million or 30 something million.
You're very
28 million.
23.
All
Oh
right.
no, 32.5. Sorry.
30. I was hitting all around the mark. I couldn't hit the red bullseye though.
Previously, there's 4 pairs from the original movie, and I guess Leonardo DiCaprio had bought one for $4 million before.
There's one. Where's the other one? He didn't get the set.
One pair.
Oh, he bought one pair. I got you.
Yeah. But this is the most valuable movie memorabilia ever sold.
Why would that be so valuable?
Notice the red bottoms on them.
Yeah.
Once stolen from a house. Okay. Then it says, let's see. Live bidding started at 1. So the rest of them, one pair sold in 2000 for $666,000. Steven Spielberg and Leo paid $2 million for another pair and donated them. Let's see.
Same names keep popping up.
Oh, look at this. The slippers were also included with the hat worn by the Wicked Witch.
Oh, perfect.
Another 2.9.
Sounds like a Fresca.
That's Charlie. He's noisy. He has his headphones on, so he can't hear how noisy he is.
He's living his own reality, baby. Follow your path.
You don't like it, go to your office. But I'm just out here in the living room. So
well, the thing I think about that is you got to look at Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, I think he attended a lot of Diddy parties. And then you've got Steven Spielberg. There's a lot of controversy surrounding him. And who's the little girl that, with Drew Barrymore, the one in Poltergeist that, had some, I don't know, there's something there. I don't know. Go research it. A lot of talk anyway, swirling. Go look that up. But the thing is with The Wizard of Oz, we know that in the book, if you read the book, it's silver slippers, and it's about the monetary system. Follow the yellow brick road. They have this path of gold, and that's the thing. However, the silver slippers can ride on top of that. It can take you to the same place that gold takes you to if you want to. Interesting to me that they changed it in the movie to the red shoes, and like you said, the red bottoms, and then you look at the symbolism of, there you go, silver slippers. Yep. Yeah, because it's about the monetary system. If you look at it, I think it was William Jennings Bryan was the guy that, was running for president, wanted a silver standard. That was, I'm thinking Wisconsin. I'm not 100% sure where he was out of, but it was, there was a monetary, testament, that whole book. But Hollywood, when they made it, I think it was 1939, and the same year Gone with the Wind, you had Dorothy wearing red slippers. And you think, well, why did they change it? Why red slippers? And then you dig into that whole red shoe phenomenon in Hollywood. And then so you got to think, why is this the most valuable, auction item? And all these Hollywood elitists want to put money into it. And then you think, okay, I mean, they want to, it's almost like, you've got these bloody feet, walking and trampling and bastardizing the monetary system. You know what I mean? That's their currency almost, you know what I'm saying? And so you got these red slippers instead of the silver slippers, just tainting polluting the whole thing. I don't know. There's something there. There's a there.
I'm with you. There is a there.
Yeah.
And of course, she's a child and all of that. That is implied.
But the dog was the most important one at exposing things. The dog with the good instincts. Hold the curtain back.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This was the other big thing that disturbed me this week, wrecked me. I guess there were two things. I cried at the one that's pinned on my tweet right now, the service man who, well, he either quit or was kicked out for not taking the jab. And then he called on his congressperson. Anyway, he was trying to hold him accountable, and he was asking everyone to stand with him. And so that was like really heartbreaking to watch. But this interview that Candace
Owens
did, and it is this gentleman. I won't play a lot of it, but in fact, maybe I shouldn't play any of it. I'll probably get kicked off. But basically, he's talking about, it's the USS Liberty. You should go look into the story.
Oh, yeah. Look that up. We never got taught that in high school.
No. And it there's not even a motivation for it.
No.
It was an
horrible
attack. They thought they were seeing their friends because they saw the Jewish star. The Star of David went flying over them. And so they're waving at them and sunning in themselves. And, thinking
next thing you know, they're getting shelled.
Yes.
For hours and hours upon end. And then, you've got the tapes, you've got the documents from FDR. It's the same thing, same vibe. LBJ, Great Society LBJ, who was a racist. I mean, complete racist out of Texas, Anyway, nothing bad on Texas, but that's just where he was from. But he's just like, I don't care. It was something like, shell that thing, you keep it going, you don't stop it. I want that thing sunk to the bottom of the sea, and these are your own people. You're commander in chief, and you're supposed to be the president of the United States representing people, but you weren't elected, were you? No, because we went a coup, and then we got LBJ. in office. I guess, where did he get elected? No, I don't think he ever got elected, did he? Because let's see, he took over in '63, didn't run again. Yeah, I don't think he ever got a vote.
No.
And so this criminal, I mean, absolute warmongering criminal, and I don't know what the motivations were, where he comes from, military industrial complex, put him where he was. It doesn't matter. The thing is, you've got soldiers, I mean, Navy, I mean, you got people on a ship.
Hear about a few dead sailors.
Yeah.
We're not going to offend our ally.
Yeah, offend our ally, the greatest ally in the Middle East. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever. All they do is start war over there and cause problems. I'm sorry. And more people are starting to see that.
That they're putting down, they're firing against one of our ships. How is that our ally?
Right. They're shelling your ship. Oh, it's you got to break a few eggs to make the omelet, I guess. We're going to make a beautiful omelet.
Well, and why is this was right when, so a lot of people believe that, that JFK was taken out because he was trying to get us off the US dollar and get us to, silver, and
didn't want them to have nukes over there. And
all of that.
Didn't want to be in Vietnam, didn't want to invade Cuba, didn't want to, participate in all this BS, that all these dark letter agencies that Eisenhower warned about. He's like, wait, whoa, no, hey, hold up. We don't need this. And then, oh, yeah, hey,
but
this guy's a threat to our empire. Oh, we got to get rid of him.
A letter from Rumsfeld.
Yeah. Donnie Rumsfeld, what was he? He was a pharmaceutical CEO at one point. What was it? Start with a G or something. Yeah. They're all vampires rotating door into all this stuff. But anyway, sorry.
Well, so Rumsfeld sent Kennedy a letter because Kennedy was calling out what we now call AIPAC, but it's the Zionists, and wanting them to identify as dual citizenship. And Rumsfeld was warning him not to do that you might upset the Zionists, is what it says in the letter.
Oh, and God's chosen Zionists? No, that's a bastardization of the whole thing.
Soon after JFK was murdered. And then you see this. And so I was saying to Johnny, like, I'm having a real hard time watching all this bowing to, when we hear about what's gone on.
The Wailing Wall with a little hat on.
Yeah. And watching Trump go to Notre Dame and sit through that ceremony, acknowledging that. And then, I've seen him put the little hat on and whatever little ceremony they did, like, unless he's undoing something there that I'm not understanding, like I have questions. I have a lot of questions about supporting these religions.
It's a bad look. It's a very bad look. It is. So I can take it two ways. Again, we're in the choose your own adventure story here. You look at it from the standpoint of Trump is definitely fulfilling Q drops. I mean, with the hammer at Wall Street, the same day, the Delta, 6 years, definitely doing that. So, but the thing is it to dupe everybody? You know what I mean? Is it that it's just a big charade and at the beginning, and it was all just a big, AI mind F, and it's just like, no, we're just going to go total enslavement, and we want to bring on, Armageddon and all this stuff. And again, people say, well, we're seeing Bible prophecy being fulfilled. It's like, they know the playbook. They know what happens. So what's to say that they're just not saying, making it happen on purpose? And then we're all true believers, and we believe, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, God's in control. Well, is he? I mean, you know what I mean from that standpoint? Or are they just making it happen and duping us, with our own belief systems to, usher us into this whole dark new world technocratic order? I mean, that's one play. The other play is it's putting it out there in front to where it's exposing the true evil behind it. That mouse is still there, and I put poison out. I just saw him run. Or is it that situation to where, it's bring it to the edge, expose them for who they are, and this group of people that are really running things, and, so that everybody sees it, so that we do have a real awakening of humanity, of truth. and it gets exposed and it gets taken down because the will of the people says, no, that's it. We got to put it in their face so that they wake up, because we're all mind numb robots at this point. Just go to Walmart. And it's, is that what's really happening? I don't know, because the people he's appointing in the cabinet, again, I talked about Brian Mast. Go look him up. House Services Committee, what is the Intelligence Committee, whatever it is, this Brian Mast guy. Go look at an interview with him in the halls of Congress, and it's a Jewish lady, a real Jew, and not a Zionist, interviewing him. And says, well, what do you think about, what's going on in Gaza? We got children getting killed here. And he's like, level the whole effing thing, basically. I don't care. And he wears this Israeli jacket. This military he's a dual citizen, an Israeli military jacket on the House floor. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's just like waving the Ukrainian flag, on the House floor, and everybody's celebrating. It's like, no. I don't care. You're either for America and the Constitution, but you can't bring some other country into this and your loyalties to that other country. And it's like, there's a lot of these people are getting appointed. You're like, what the frick? Is this just like the ultimate call out to where, we finally wake up and say, enough, we're done. We get it. Okay. We get who's really running and the puppet masters. Or is it, no, they're actually, they're America first. Yeah. And we buy into that. I don't know. I guess we wait and see what happens, but we got to be aware that, on the surface, these people aren't really serving America. There's American interests.
No, they don't. And when they say that they're gods, Candace had a point. She said, the fact that they're saying they're, God's political party, or that, they're the Christian party.
Chosen people. Oh, we're all chosen.
Yeah, and it's like, wait a minute. Now
that's pretty presumptuous, isn't it?
It really is, especially
isn't it?
You're the same ones, supporting a group.
And then when you really look at it, and it's like, which house of the 12 tribes is really the chosen one, and you go back and do your history, and it's not Zionism, it's not this whole, Kabbalah thing we talked about earlier, this black cube worshiping thing, this whole dark Masonic, all these different names, mystery school stuff, Egyptian mystery schools, it's not that vein. It's not that line that is the chosen, and so you got to really get your head around this. But again, they're name stealers. They make it look like, hey, we're the people that are chosen by God. Meanwhile, look at your actions. You're shelling the USS Liberty. You're killing innocents, children. And it's like, yeah, but those children are going to grow up to be terrorists. Well, of course, I'd grow up to be a terrorist too if I survived and they killed my family. Duh.
Yeah, it depends. The terrorist it depends on what side of the fence you're on, who you call a terrorist, because that's also a hero in somebody else's eyes.
Absolutely. It's like the victor write the history,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just some crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, I just judge people by their actions, and that's what I look at. I don't really care what they say. And that's what you got to do. You judge the tree by the fruits, and that's what you do. You have to look at maybe
somebody coming in. Yeah, it just all goes back to it. It does make me wonder if it's showing us, trying to show us that we are magic, and that, like, hearing you unpack that idea, or about the Q posts and all that stuff, are they confirming stuff, or are they showing us, no, look, you guys manifested this?
Right.
And so if you could understand that, then we could take that power back. Like they've been doing. It's just a tool. It's just a hammer, so let's use the hammer thing.
Yeah, use the hammer.
Or what did I heard somebody use, then maybe it was Stephen Greer, probably Stephen Greer. I've been watching his videos like crazy. Yeah. He said, it's just a knife. I can use it to butter my bread, or I can use it to slit your throat.
Right. Or I can cut myself loose from the ropes that you've tied me up with. It's a tool for whatever it is. And it's just like, that's what I see playing out. And that's why I say it's a choose your own adventure book. And you kind of coined that, and I just ran with it. But that's what it is. And I think that's ultimately, if you believe that we had a creator that made us, again, as a parent, you're like, hey, you have I'd like you to do this, but you know what? You've got to choose for yourself. There's nothing I can do. And you preach to some kids, you have children, you know how it is. And it's like, you tell them all the things to do. And it's like, still, I'm going to put the butter knife in the socket.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. I did it. I know. That's personal experience. So, okay, I learned. And sometimes you just got to learn. You got free will. You've got the ability to choose to, whatever path you want, and it's all out there. And so you can say, oh, I believe in this is going to be great and everything's going to be fine, and these are the best people and best and brightest people in the world. Or you can look at it as, these people, I mean, if you look at what they've done and we allow these people to control us and we participate in this is going to be a problem. And so I'm not going to participate. And so you make that conscious decision. But I mean, it's forcing us to make a choice. I think everything's culminating into that point to where you're forced to make a choice of who you are and why you're here and what you're going to do about it. Because there's nothing, and I've said this many times, and I beat it in the, like a dead horse. It's like you're born with the ability to do something. You have talents to do something. And then the worst thing that you could possibly do is know you should have done something. You had the ability to do something, but you didn't do it. I mean, what a life of regret that would be. Don't be that person. And it's just like, whatever you're feeling, whatever you believe, whatever it is, act accordingly. Don't sit back in fear and like, oh, the drones are coming. They're aliens, or they're Iranians, and it's just, you got to make your choices, and you got to really, when it comes down to it, you really got to trust yourself, and you got to trust your instincts, and you got to know what you're all about and why you're here and who you're connected to, what you're connected to. And I mean, this is it. I mean, you got to do something. You only have so much time left. So do it, make your decision, and who cares what everybody else says? Take the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune and move on. And you just do what you think is right. And that's it. That's up to you. And you're forced to make a choice, so make the choice. Don't be sitting on the sidelines, I don't know what to do, or just go with the flow and be a sheep, and follow the other sheep. It's like, no, F that. Do your own thing. Yeah. And I think if enough people do their own thing, then we get decentralized, and then we start getting a different mindset, and then we start getting back to the society, getting back to the world of real freedom. I mean, because we can do everything for ourselves if we have enough like-minded people, because we all have wonderful tools to build a community. That's why people, hey, we're going to build this community over here because of these reasons. And hey, we got good people. Let's bring them in here. We have cultural values that we share, and we're going to build things together. And I think we got to get to that point. It's not some national identity, I mean, it's about what are your beliefs. Get yourself around the same people that have the same beliefs. And you know what?
Yeah.
F the rest of it. Do the right thing and be good with it.
And be okay with
own it
outside of the box. You don't have to.
No.
One of my favorite life lessons was from a caseworker that she had, fostered and adopted kids, and she had a child out, from a previous marriage, and then she married this guy, and he had a kid from a previous marriage. And then, they fostered and adopted, and then they'd had some kids that went back with family members, and they stayed friends because they really helped the family get back together and get on their feet and do the right thing. And so at Thanksgiving, I don't know, we said something about, I don't know, we were having a meeting or whatever, and she's like, oh yeah, our family, she was sharing pictures, whatever. And she's like, well, my table looks a little different. She goes, we bought a round table because we don't have traditional places. We don't have the head of the table or a dad or mom. She's like, we have what's her name brings the new husband or the dad, and she's like, we bring this is a little girl that we used to foster her, and her grandmother raises her now, and they come and spend Thanksgiving with us. And so they rethought, and they thought out of the box about what their Thanksgiving table looks like.
Right.
It doesn't have to have the same typical traditional values. So your life can look different too. It doesn't have to look like somebody else's life for it to be successful or happy or whatever.
No, I thought, I'm thinking about that right now. Every movie that I've ever seen where you have kings and queens and royalty, they always have a big long table, and the king or the head sits at the head of the table. Now, think about King Arthur and the knights. Knights of the round table. We're all equal. We all sit equally. And I mean, that's a concept. It's a great concept. And that's why that whole thing, whether or not it's historically true, but I think it's spiritually true. I mean, to all of us, we can all relate to that, to where, that's a heroic thing, to where we all sit equally at this table. And everything we do, it affects all of us. It's not like one guy makes the decisions, at the top of the table and we have to obey, equality. I mean, we're all equal and we're all powerful and we all need to hear each other and make decisions together. That's what a community does. You might not like what you hear, but that's why you got an open forum. It's like, discuss it and hear it, and let's fix it together, because one guy ain't gonna fix it. One woman ain't gonna fix it. One queen, one king. They'll end up cutting people's heads off. And just because you got in the way.
Remove
That's not the right way. There's got to be chivalry. There has to be nobility. There has to be righteousness in what you do. And that's the whole emblematic thing of the Knights of the Round Table. And I mean, that's an ideal to uphold, I think.
I agree. And if only we didn't have our ego and our greed, the things that have gotten in the way of 0-point technology being released in the past. So we can.
That darn Guinevere looked too good, and Lancelot couldn't stop himself. It is what it is. I mean, but so there's always flawed, because we're human beings. I mean, but it's that whole thing is something it's important, I think, as far as who we are as people.
It is important.
Or lessons.
Well, I am going to wrap it up. Love to all of our fam in the chat. Thanks for joining us.
Wrap it up like a wrapped Litecoin.
Participating, yes. Will you do a space? Can you make a spaces tonight? I heard you were up very early.
The crazy thing was, I mean, it was about midnight, and I thought, I should probably wind this down. I got to get up. I got to take the dogs at 8. I should get some sleep. And then it just got going. Polly jumped in. Steak jumped in. It kept going. I looked. It was like a little after 1, and I'm like, go a little bit longer. Next thing I look, it's like 3, 5 a.m. I'm like, well, I'm done. What's the last song? Play the last song. Get in the house. Take the get an hour and a half of sleep. Make a video this morning. I don't even know. I mean, if I had a breathalyzer, what? No, it wasn't that bad. But it was just, a big guy. I can handle it. But, man, I didn't get much sleep, and I thought, I'm just kind of a little bit worn out. Should I do a space on Friday? And I'm thinking I shouldn't have done a space on Thursday, because Friday night is like the Westwood space. So I can't let everybody down on a Friday night. So yeah, let's do a space. Hit 1 in the chat if you want to hear a space from Westwood, and the lovely Litecoin Lisa will hop in too. Hit 2 if you want me to go to bed.
I think you need to be there. I think you need to pay your penance for staying up too late.
Well, and that's it. A man has to know his limitations, and if he doesn't, he needs to take. I guess I'm going to have some indulgences or something. I need to do something to. I need the penance. Walk down. Brent, what is it? With the bell, it's shame, shame, shame. I'm going to self, immolate or whatever it is.
Go make a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
In between, we'll let you drink coffee. We'll take coffee shots.
Exactly. I'll need some coffee shots mixed with some Jaeger shots, or side by side.
Oh, that'll be something.
No, that'd be something.
Might actually be good in coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually,
try that. I don't know. All right.
Put a little sea salt in your coffee if it's bitter. We talked about that last night. Put a little sea salt in there to kill the bitterness. Yeah. I like black coffee, but sometimes it can be bitter, so I'll put a little sea salt in there if you mix it up, and it makes it smoother.
Tried that. Okay.
Little tip.
Try it. All right. I'll see you guys on Spaces. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Love y'all.
Stay free.